What is going on, guys? We are back from Pittsburgh, where we top 16th at the 3v3 3-on-3 Cup, and we got a Chopper and a Usopp. Finished 12, I believe, with my two teammates that were playing Zoro and Lucci, and I was playing Katakuri. So was able to finish top 16 with Katakuri alongside with my two teammates, and it was a very fun and long weekend. But we made it, and this actually marks the last tournament that we are playing for OP3. So since we are finishing OP3 and heading on to OP4, I thought I would make a last deck profile of my last version of Katakuri in OP3. So yeah, came out with a W with Katakuri. So let's check out what is the last list of Katakuri for OP3. So if you want to see more videos like this or gameplay of OP4 that I've already been posting and will continue posting, make sure to subscribe and leave a like if in OP3 you also played a Katakuri, and let me know in the comments below what is the last leader that you played in OP3 and what are you going to play in OP4. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so here we have my last deck profile of Katakuri. So let's get into it. I'll put the leader not too far away so that you can see the leader. Alright, so starting off the deck with probably the best card of the game. Okay, probably not of the game, but of the deck, is a very important card. Like you always want to start off with Pudding as your starting hand, whether you go first or second. Pudding, 1 cost 2k, is the Searcher of the Big Monk Pirates. So a very good card, very important, and the fact that it costs just 1 sometimes comes in clutch. Then I put 2 Daifukus. So Daifuku is a card that in my previous deck profiles of Katakuri, I have not included it, but in the end, I decided to include it because in the mirror matchup, it is very good, and also against red, it could be a potential problem for them because it allows you to draw 1 card every time you attack, so it lets you keep up with the red aggression and all of their searchers, because as we know, red always has a million cards in their hand. The next one is Opera. So Opera, 4 cost, 6000 attack, a vanilla, very powerful, and I put 3 because I find that 4 it's a little bit too much. 3, just a good sweet spot, and it's especially good against White Bear, right? 6000 attack is incredibly good against White Bear. No commitment of Dawn, you are able to swing on White Bear, so very important, and it's also a big body that is hard for the opponent to get rid of. So 3 of those, very good. The next one is Yamato. Yamato is the addition that we got from the starter deck of Yamato, and unfortunately it's not a Big Mom Pirate, so it's not searchable. So you want to try to, I'm not gonna say you try to mulligan into the Yamato, but like if you have her in your starting hand, that is incredibly good, because a 5 cost 7 attack character is very hard to get rid of, and if they swing on it, it's very easy to counter. So yeah, 3 of those, and yeah, feels pretty good. Same logic as the Opera, 4 of her, especially since she's not searchable, a bit too much, but 3, it's a good number for us. Now on to the 2k counters. So the first one, we have Streusen. Streusen is as of now, as of OP3, probably the two best 2k counter of OP3. Like, it's the best 2k counter yellow has in OP3. One cost, and it lets you get rid of one cost or less of your opponent. Is very, very good against Law and all the red leaders, Whitebeard and Zoro. It's incredibly good. Whitebeard a little bit less, because Whitebeard, like, they don't depend on all the searchers, but against Zoro, very, very good. Like, against Zoro and Law, you play one for sure, two maybe if you really have to, and then the rest you leave for countering. So very, very good. Then the next 2k counter that we have is for Sanji. So Sanji is a good 2k counter for yellow, but it's very expensive to pull off, right? Like, for 2 cost and only 3000 attack, you have to invest 2 dawns to be able to attack and draw 1 card from your life, right? Like, it's good. I've tried to play Sanji, but it doesn't stick a lot, right? You only get 1 value of his ability. That's why I added the Daifuku, because Daifuku, you can try to do the ability at least twice, but with Sanji, most of the time it's only once. So that's why most of the games I play him with for a 2k. All right, so the next 2k that we have is the pudding, the 2k pudding. And I know this might be weird, but I reduced this one to 2. One, because our 2k counters are not that playable the majority of the time, and this one is, especially in my opinion, it's not useless, but that you never play this one from your hand. You always use her as a 2k. So I reduced her to 2, just to leave room for additional cards that we can actually play. And I find that 10 2k counters in this deck, it's very, very comfortable. Like, you always have enough to protect your life, to control the number of life that you have, and to avoid over aggression from your opponent. So 2 for the pudding, I feel it's far, like, it's enough. Now for the triggers and the heart of the deck. So we have 3 Brulees. Brulee's very straightforward. You want her in your life and trigger the Brulee for an additional blocker on your field. But if you are very, very stuck, sometimes it is good to just hard play the Brulee, because let's face it, sometimes you have no choice. The next one is Perospero. 4 of the Perospero, very important. It's a must-have in the deck. It is just too good. Trigger. If you trigger Perospero by discarding 1 card from your hand, you get to play him, and you get a searcher and a big body. Very, very good. That is probably one of the best lower cost of the deck. The next one is Cracker. Cracker, very, very, very good card to have in trigger, and sometimes it's very, very useful when you are behind. The double attack and plus 1000 is incredibly good. Forces your opponent to discard at least 2 cards from their hand, or take 2 life. So this card actually helped me a lot against Zoro during the tournament. Like, sometimes I was falling behind, and because I couldn't kill the Cracker by attacking once, it won me the game. Alright, and then the next one is Shirahoshi. Shirahoshi, if you guys know, like, I have a love-hate relationship with Shirahoshi. In my previous deck profiles, like, at some point I wasn't running Shirahoshi, because I found that having now I put it at 3. I put Shirahoshi at 3, and before I had her at 4, and 4 I felt like it was just too much. You end up drawing the Shirahoshi more often than in your triggers, and when you draw her, she's just a 1k counter. Unless you're very, very stuck and you need to fix your hand, you never hard play her. 5 dawns is way too much. But honestly, this card has helped me a lot. Has helped me win a lot of games just off of trigger. it's an insanely good card, especially with Katakuri. Katakuri, your 8 cost, lets you reshuffle, lets you put Shirahoshi back to your life and reduce the effect. So it's good. Like I didn't see the use of Shirahoshi before. Now, like with all my testing and all the games that I've played, she is very, very important to have in the deck. And then for the last triggers that we have the Narikabura arrow. And this is a new event that we got from the Yamato. Fortunately, it's a land of Wano, so you can't really draw into search the event, but it's still a very good event. Like for late game, if you have this in your hand since the beginning, keep that card until you reach 2 or less life, because that -3 is very good, especially when your opponent is trying to go for game 3. It's a very good number to reduce the attack for, because sometimes they're going to be stuck doing only 7 or even worse 6, right? Like 6, 7 are often the number of damage that they try to do at the late game. And if they swing 999, well, like that's gonna help you a little bit if you have a 2k counter, right? Because you -3, 6,000, and then your 2k. So 3, it's a very good number to counter for. And then the trigger, discarding 2 cards from your hand, add 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. It's a very good trigger to have and to pull. And then the last one of the triggers and the event is Thunderbolt. 3 Thunderbolts. Honestly, Thunderbolt is a very, very good card. Even if you hard play the Thunderbolt, sometimes it wins you games. Like the number of times that I try to go for game and there was an annoying Marco blocker, you just use the Thunderbolt and get rid of the Marco, and then you just go for game. Because it's only 2 cost for a KO 5 cost or less. Insanely good. And the trigger, even better. For like, if you trigger the Thunderbolt, you KO any 5 cost. Any 5 cost without a price to pay. Insanely good. 3, I feel it's a very, very good and flexible number to have. And if you draw too many Thunderbolts in your hand, you discard those Thunderbolts with Streusen or with your triggers. And now we are into the late game. So for the late game, we have 2 7 cost Big Mom. And honestly, with like all the testing that I've done, 2 is more than enough, because this card you really just want to play her once, and that's on curve. So if you're able to draw or to search for one of your 7 cost Big Mom, it's more than enough. The second one you don't need, and the third one, if you had, you wouldn't need, because at some point, like your opponents or like anybody playing against yellow figure it out that like the best way to play against yellow is just to grab your life as fast as you can, or every time or every time they do this ability, they always choose to trash one of their life. So at one point that ability becomes just useless, because they're never going to give you an extra life, because if they give you an extra life, then they put themselves in a disadvantage. And if they remove 1 life, once you play your first 7 cost Big Mom, they'll try to finish the game as fast as they can, right? Because they're already like -1 life, and then they know that you're gonna try to finish the game like as fast as you can, so they'll do the same thing. So 2 of the 7 cost Big Mom is more than enough. The next one is the 8 cost Katakuri. 8 cost Katakuri, honestly, it's an amazing card. 8 for 8, and the effect is really, really good. So like I said, Katakuri, most of the times that you want to play Katakuri, it's either to remove one of their annoying characters. So for example, either like an annoying blocker that you can't kill, like Borsolino or Fokuro, or the 4 cost Marco that is like unkillable, except if you like swing on him multiple times, so like it does not there's no value into that. So yeah, so the Katakuri, like if you're trying to get rid of one of your opponent's character, make sure it's a key card, or you can play it more as defensively, or like just more strategically if you already like controlled your opponent's board more than enough. You use that to put back your Brulees, so that way like it's an extra blocker, or you use that for Shirahoshi, right? Like if you have Shirahoshi on your field, use Katakuri to put her back. It's just too good. Like that recycling of your hand, so good. So 3 of the Katakuri, more than enough. And then last but not least is 4 Big Mom. 4 10 cost Big Mom. And I don't really have to explain to you why this is just so good. Sometimes this card wins you games. The moment you drop 1, you're already at a big advantage. And if you're able to do 2 Big Moms back to back, it just becomes that much stronger. Like in the tournament, like I think the second round that we played against the champions, right? The ones that actually won the 3-on-3, and I won my game against a red Luffy, and honestly, he was doing pretty well. Like he was controlling the pace of the game until like I dropped my Big Moms. Like it feels like a little bit unfair, but like in that case, it won me the game. And honestly, it's just too good not to have 4. Even if she is searchable with Perospero and with Pudding, you want 4 because you need to have multiple in your hand to be able to play them back to back. So yeah, that's it for the Katakuri deck. So this is the list that I finished OP3 with. I think, at least for me, this is the most optimal list that I was able to come up with. And for my OP4, like I already put a deck profile for OP4, so make sure to go check that out, as the principles are similar, but we do have access to a lot more triggers that are useful. So yeah, so make sure to go subscribe if you want to see the deck profile for OP4, and leave a like if you are excited for Katakuri for OP4, and let me know in the comments below, how did your OP3 season finish? Let me know what the deck you were playing, and what are your thoughts of OP3? Like, do you think it was a good set, or are you just tired of OP3 and look forward to OP4? Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.